Hi everyone. So again, my name is Brittany with Scott Remarketing. Today's class, we are going to be going over all of the team platforms within the command platform. So this is going to be going over contacts, opportunities, what types of things you guys have access to because you're associated with a team that is recognized by your office, your brokerage. So if you guys are an individual agent, and you're not associated with a team, you will not have access to most of the things that we're going over today. So to start, I am logging in on my command platform. Again, that is agent.kw.com. As said previously, I am going to be working through a Rainmaker's account. All that means is I am going to have 100% access to all of the team platforms. So if by any chance during class you may see something appear a little bit differently on your account, or maybe it's grayed out, it's only because you're not logged in as a Rainmaker, so don't panic. So I'm just going to sign in. The first thing I want to go over with the command platform is going to be the marketing profile. So a lot of you will probably already have this set up. I just want to show you guys how you can manipulate it to be a little bit more team friendly. So to start, I'm just going to click on my name in the top right-hand corner. And now the first thing you guys are going to notice is you actually have two profiles. So you should have one either as your personal or your team, depending on which one you have set up as your default, which we'll also be going over. But currently I have the personal account, and then you'll see I also have a team profile right underneath. And you guys can now actually toggle in between those, which is great. But in order to get things started, I'm just going to go ahead and click on settings. And this might bump me out. If it does, I'll just log back in. It did. All right, let me pull this back up. If you guys also got logged out, if you log back in, it shouldn't happen again. It's just something with the command platform. They've been running updates on it. So the second you click on settings, it may bump you out. Perfect. Okay, so again, I'm just going to click on my name in the top right-hand corner. And you still have your two profiles. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on settings. Once this page loads, the first thing I'm going to jump into is connect settings, which is right on the left-hand side. And we're just going to click on that. And you're going to see marketing profile is nestled right underneath that. And again, most of you are probably going to already have this set up with your basic information. My main goal is to show you guys how to manipulate this and make sure that your team information is showing the way that you guys want it to. So to start, we have the headshot. If you guys are using an individual account and you say you're on a spouse team, or you're sharing an account with a sibling or a parent or a friend, and you guys are only using one command platform, you can update your headshot to have both of your pictures. So in other words, on all of the marketing that goes out, it would have a picture of the two of you instead of just the agent whose account you happen to be using. If you guys are on a team with multiple agents, and you guys are each using your own command platform, you would want to make sure that this has your picture on it. So that would be specific on how you guys plan on using command with your team. A lot of spouse teams will share a picture, but if you guys, again, are using your own command platform for all of your business, you would want to make sure that that is your picture. Underneath that, we have the team logo. Right here, you're going to see that the team logo looks distorted here. However, in general, on all of your marketing platforms, it will show up correctly. So if you are a team that happens to have a rectangular logo, completely fine. You can still add that in, and it will auto adjust accordingly on all of your marketing platforms. It will not show up distorted. Headshot is a little bit different. You do want to make sure that your headshot is cropped to be a square no matter what, because it will always fit into a circle. And you'll notice here, it crops it perfectly. If you have a rectangular image and you try to import that, it does smush it to be a square. So just as a heads up. But your logo will correct itself on all platforms. Underneath your images, you guys are going to see where we have our basic details. So starting with first name and last name, these are mandatory. Everything with these little red asterisks, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Everything with these red asterisks are going to be required on this page in order for you to save it. So that's very important. So for your first name and last name, you'll notice these two agents tend to share Connie's account. So they have it set up as Connie Yates as the first name, and then last name is showing up as Leisha Maxwell. So in other words, on all of their marketing, it's going to have both of their names. And again, if you guys are working out of a team account where you're sharing one, this is a great way to manipulate it so it has your team information. If you're working out of just your own, you would have John and then Smith if your name were John Smith. You don't have to split it up or add anybody else's name if you guys are each using your own command platform. Underneath that, you have the license number. Right here, we just added a dummy one just to show you. But if you do have both of your names on here, you would want to make sure that both license numbers are added as well. And you can essentially add in the name. So for example, I can put Connie and then license number, and then either do and, or you guys can split it however you guys would want. If you want to do a slash or a dash or whatever you want, but that can be added as such. You can put both of your license numbers there, which is great. Right to the right of that, you guys are going to see your team name. So this is going to be exactly that. However you guys are recognized as a team, that's what you're going to want to populate there, as this is actually going to feed to multiple marketing platforms for you. Everything from your mobile app to your website. It's also going to help brand your email campaigns. So you do want to make sure whatever your team name is, that's spelled correctly, it's formatted correctly, however you guys are recognized as a team. Underneath that, we have professional job title and designations. Professional job title, one thing I will note, if you guys are with a brokerage or essentially a state that requires you to have specific verbiage there, you do want to make sure that's what you're using. So for example, New York, I believe requires licensed real estate agent rather than realtor with the registered R. You would just want to make sure whatever you guys need to have populate as your professional job title, that's where it needs to go. And then designations, you guys can add that in as well. Any additional designations you guys may have obtained. Underneath that, we have bio. You'll notice this is all spaced out the way they want that to populate. As long as it's populating correctly here, it will syndicate out everywhere for you. So it will show up properly on any widget or update that pulls from your bio. It will also update out to your mobile app. It will pull over to your website. So just make sure that you guys have something added there. Again, if you guys are working on one account as a team, you would want to make sure that you update any pronouns to be plural. If you guys are marketing for the two of you, you would also want to make sure that the bio is specific to the team. So in other words, if you guys just started using one account for all team members, and maybe it was your personal bio before, you may want to tweak that accordingly, just so it fits the actual marketing platform that you guys are using. Underneath that, we have contact information. You'll see mobile number. We have everything smushed into one line. It does actually show up correctly everywhere. It looks a little funny in here, but we have Connie's phone number and then we have Leisha's phone number. You can add both phone numbers. The only thing is you cannot add two email addresses. It is smart enough to recognize when more than one is added. So if you do have more than one email address, what a lot of teams have been doing is creating one team Gmail account and having that on their main marketing materials. Then you also have your office phone, which is mandatory. You can repeat your cell phone number if your brokerage or state doesn't require you to have your office phone number on here. If they do, make sure that's added just for compliance. Underneath that, we have the website. One thing I will recommend is whatever website URL you guys are using, for example, they own this URL, you want to make sure that you have HTTP or HTTPS, and then it would be semicolon //. What that's going to do is it's going to make your website clickable. So from your mobile app, from all of the platforms that your website is going to show up on. For example, smart plans, when you send out an email or an email campaign, anytime you send out a marketing piece that your website will be added to, it will make it clickable for your clients. That way they don't have to copy and paste that into another tab. It just takes another step away from them having to complete that for you. Also, if somebody comes across your agent profile on your office website, your website will be clickable right from your profile, which is great. If you guys are unsure whether your website is HTTP or HTTPS, HTTPS will always be the beginning for any of the KW websites. So if your URL ends in .kw.com, it will automatically have the HTTPS. If you are using a custom domain, there's a good chance it's HTTP unless you paid for the security. If you haven't yet, completely fine. Just make sure that you have the correct starter. You can always check it by going to your website and physically copying it. So for example, you can see this one starts with HTTPS. So when you go to the URL, it will tell you exactly how it begins. Underneath that, we have all the brokerage information, which will be pretty standard. You have your brokerage logo. If your brokerage does not have a specific logo, completely fine. Don't worry about it. It will by default add the Keller Williams logo for you. Right-hand side, we have all the brokerage information. So this is your brokerage's DBA, whatever name they go by. You have their office number. And again, for compliance purposes, if they require you to have that on your marketing, make sure that's added. And then we have the brokerage street address. Underneath that, city, state, and zip. If you guys are an agent or a mega team that you guys are associated with more than one office, we do have a tip video that goes over how to brand your marketing profile for multiple brokerages or multiple offices. If you guys are in that situation and you already dropped your email address in the chat, that's actually a part of my follow-up email. So I'll get that over to you guys. If you guys are following along with the recording, there will be a hyperlink underneath this video with all of the notes, and it will include that video. Scrolling down a little bit more, we have the compliance section, which again is pretty straightforward, pretty standard. This is for singular agents and team agents. If you guys have legal footer text that has to be added to all of your marketing, this is where you can copy and paste that in. The beauty of this, it's going to populate everywhere. So it kind of takes the worry out of it for you. As long as you're making sure the information is populating here, it's going to populate everywhere. Your website, your mobile app, marketing materials, emails, it's everywhere. This also goes for the legal footer links, which are great. If you guys are in a situation where you need to add a specific PDF or a specific URL to your marketing for compliance, you can add this in just by clicking add link. It will allow you to provide the text you want that link to show up as, and then the URL goes on the right-hand side. So this is a great location, again, for PDFs that need to be shared, Texas agents, your information about brokerage services goes here. So you guys have access to actually add that. And again, it goes everywhere and it takes care of it for you. Underneath that, legal footer images, same thing. These images do show up very, very small, and they are at the bottom of your website. There are, however, some MLS boards and states that require specific logos to be added to your marketing. If you are with one of those states, just make sure you have the logo saved to your desktop or somewhere on your computer. You can click on upload. It will allow you to locate that logo and add it to all of your marketing for you. I believe the state of Maine is one of those states, and you guys have to have a specific logo. And I think the equal housing opportunity needs to be added there. Underneath that, we have social. This is going to be something that will vary for teams. So with your social platforms, if you guys are sharing a social platform, for example, you guys have a team Facebook, you guys have a team Twitter, team Instagram, a team YouTube channel, whatever it may be, you would want to make sure that you're adding those URLs here. What this is going to do is it's going to allow your website, your mobile app, and any marketing pieces that may include your social URLs to actually populate with them. Again, you will notice these are all starting with HTTPS, meaning they're going to be clickable from wherever they populate, which is great. Again, it's just taking a step away from your client. That way they don't have to copy and paste that themselves. But you do want to make sure, and you'll see here, they have the Yates Maxwell properties for all of their platforms. So if you guys do have personal Facebook URLs, even if they're business pages, that's something you would want to decide as an agent. Are you going to be promoting your own business page for Facebook, or are you looking to promote your team's business page for Facebook? That would be a conversation you would need to have amongst team members, but just as a heads up, this is where you guys are going to update those. Right underneath that, we have our Facebook pixel and ads, and then Google Analytics ID. If you guys already, again, dropped your email in the chat, I will make sure to get the instructions on how to set these up out to you. It is a part of my notes. And again, if you guys are following along with the video, there are notes underneath this in the summary that will go over how to set those up. Both of those are essentially just to assist with helping you organize and see the traffic that are going through both of these. So if you guys are running ads, it's going to help you with the traffic to see where they're going, how many ads you're capturing, or how many leads you're capturing. And then for Google Analytics, it's the traffic of your website. Underneath that, we have your branded app link. Again, this will vary for teams. So if you guys are going to be sharing one mobile app, that's the URL you would want at the bottom of your marketing profile. If you guys are in a situation where there's multiple agents on the team and you guys each want to use your own mobile app, that's completely fine. You would just want to make sure that this URL is yours. If you are unsure, you can just copy and paste that into a new tab and make sure whoever it's branded to is the one that you want populating. But again, this is where your mobile app is going to pull from for most of your marketing materials. So you do want to make sure that you're promoting the correct URL. If you guys made any tweaks or any changes, make sure that you're clicking on save, which is all the way at the bottom. I didn't make any changes, so I didn't get a little green ribbon. If you guys did make changes, you should have gotten a green ribbon right across the top that just says successfully changed. And then you also should be getting a pop-up just letting you know that everything that you just updated was changed, which is great. The last thing that I want to make sure you guys see is right on the top, you guys have a use my information to brand my site. Make sure that's populating as green. If it's populating as gray, it means that your command platforms do not have access to all of this information you guys just provided. So make sure that this is populating as green. If it's populating as gray, click it. You'll get a compliance notice that will pop up just stating everything here needs to be within compliance in order for you to market it. And then it will allow you to toggle it as being green. Once you guys have gone ahead and updated that, the next thing I want to go over is going to be actually just within all of these settings functions right here, because I want to show you guys some of the new updates that have happened with the team platforms. We're going to start by clicking on General Settings, which is the first option. And you're going to see the first thing you guys can see is actually the default account. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And you'll see here, and this is important, if you guys are going to be 100% working out of your team profile, you're not going to be using your personal profile anymore, you can actually set your team profile as your default account, which is great. So that means each time you log into Command, rather than it showing up as your personal account, it's automatically going to pull up your team account. This doesn't erase your personal account. It doesn't hide it. It just means that when you actually click on it, it's going to allow you guys to toggle back and forth, but your team account's going to be the primary. So if you guys, I'm going to leave it as her personal only because that's how she has it set up now, but you guys can toggle this. There's no save button. As long as you have the bubble highlighted, that's your default one. For team management, once you guys click on team management, you may only be seeing your name. Going forward for pretty much the rest of the class, I'm going to switch over to my team profile. That's going to give you guys access to all of these team functions. We get asked regularly why an agent maybe can't see something or something's grayed out or it just doesn't look right. Usually it's because their team profile isn't selected. Clicking on this team profile is kind of like your green light to all of those team functions. So you'll notice the second I click on my name and click on my team profile, I gain access to all of the team management. This is something that was recently updated. So if you are a Rainmaker, this is very important. Once you come in here, this is not only going to show you the agents that are nestled under your team via the team tool. This is something that your office needs to edit. However, you can also see all of the permissions that all of your agents now have access to. Permissions are brand new. They actually just rolled these out for you guys. And what it does is it allows you to control what each agent, admin, team member has access to on their own account. Meaning that if you have maybe an admin who needs unlimited access, you can actually click on here, and I know Leah's an admin, she's set up with unlimited access, meaning her account is as similar to a Rainmaker's account as humanly possible. Then you have your enhanced, which is right underneath that, and then your standard, which is what everybody who is added to the team will be as a default. You can come in here and you can tweak them. And one of the things I do want to show you guys is if you guys are questioning what permissions cover what, which is a very common question, if you guys look right on the top right-hand corner, you're going to see a permissions tab. And we're going to go ahead and click on that just so we can take a look at what is covered. So once you guys click on that, this is just the brief overview of what each platform or what each section is going to cover: unlimited, enhanced, standard. If you guys want the full breakdown, if you just click on full permissions breakdown, you're going to get a pop-up that actually gives you everything that it goes over. So this is going to break it down completely for you. For team management, it's showing you that only unlimited really has access to manage any of the back-end team functions, which makes sense. So primarily, just as kind of an overview, I'll give you guys time to kind of go in here, and I recommend coming back in here later, taking a look, making sure your agents, if you guys have a transaction coordinator, that they're set up accordingly. However, primarily, unlimited is going to be kind of like a transaction coordinator / admin, but they are going to have a lot of access. So just make sure that you're using that accordingly. Enhanced, more of a marketing platform, and then standard is what most agents are going to be set up as. However, we have seen a lot of agents bumping, or a lot of Rainmakers bumping their agents into enhanced just so they can see everything that they need access to. So for example, for contacts, you'll see here, they can view the lead pool, but they can't view team contacts. They can't view contact details. They can't contact activity and nurture plans. So depending on what you want your agents to have access to, this is going to be something you definitely want to focus on. We also have, again, in my notes, I have a PDF version of this. So if you do want to kind of sit and go through all of your agents and not leave this up, don't panic. I'll be sending that over to you guys as a follow-up email. And again, if you guys are watching the recording of this, it's all tucked underneath the summary of this video. But you guys can scroll down and you'll see it breaks everything down. It shows you guys the check mark, just tells you guys that they have access to it. But this is huge. So this now allows you guys to not only delegate permissions out, but it shows you exactly what people are going to have access to. So if you guys do have maybe an admin joining or a marketing consultant joining or whatever role they're going to be handling, you can come in here and take a peek, make sure they're going to have access to what they're going to need, and then go from there. So I'm going to X out of this. You guys do also have a history button. Hers currently is blank. However, if you guys click on history, all it's going to tell you is who has been changed permissions recently. So in other words, if you have John Smith on your team and you recently bumped him up to unlimited, it's going to let you know when that happened, just so you guys can kind of keep track of it. So I'm going to go back to all team members. So again, in order to see this, when you guys click on all team members, in order to see all of your team members, A, you need to be a Rainmaker, and B, you need to be under your team profile. So just keep that in mind. If you guys ever click on the team management, you're only seeing your profile, make sure you're clicking on your team profile. Make sure you have that one selected. Okay, so one last thing I just want to touch upon. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I want to make sure that you guys know how to add an admin to your account. If you guys have a third-party administrator working with your team that maybe they're not recognized by the office, they're working extremely part-time, or they're just helping you out for an extended period and the office isn't adding them to their systems, you can do that. So in other words, you would just click on your add member. And once this pops up, you're going to see a drop-down list with two options. You're going to be clicking on Add Guest User. Once you click on Add Guest User, it's going to ask some basic information, and it's then going to allow you to actually add this person as an admin to your team. They'll have kind of a funky username. It usually has the word guest in it, but it's going to allow them to essentially have access to command. You can also give these agents or these administrators unlimited access, which is going to give them a lot more access, especially if these are maybe a transaction coordinator. But what it allows you to do is you can add up to two to a Rainmakers account. If you guys have 2 agents set up as Rainmakers on your team, you can then have 4. Essentially, each Rainmakers account only allows 2 slots for administrators. But once you guys add all their information in, their email address, passwords, you would agree and then send request. This takes 72 hours to go live. So what essentially happens is you're going to add all this information. You're going to send the request. Your MCA is going to get notified just so they can verify that it was intentional. And then within 72 hours, your administrator is going to get an email sent to whatever email address you use, and it's going to provide them with their username and their login information. That being said, once you click send request, they will show up on the back end of your account. So in other words, they'll show up as a team member, but their account isn't live for 72 hours. So if you do set up an administrator and they don't have access immediately, that's why. Don't panic. That's completely normal. It just takes 2 overnight feeds for this account to essentially launch itself. So that's how you guys can add an admin. I'm going to cancel out of this. And we also have a tip video that goes over that specifically, which again is in my notes. So if that is something you guys are looking to do, I'll make sure I get that over to you guys. The next section I want to go over is going to be command settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'm just going to minimize this to try and keep it as organized as possible. Once I click on my command settings, I'm going to click on contacts. Underneath here, I'm going to click on contact tags because this has been a very common question we're getting as well. So I have command settings, contacts, are contact tags. Once my contact tags load, you'll notice I only have 3 in here. Some of you may not have any yet. Completely normal because you're logged in under your team profile. As the Rainmaker, you now have access to create tags for your team, meaning these tags are going to be accessible by all of your team members as long as they are using the team database, which we're going to go over as well. Don't panic. But if you guys have not yet set up a tag in here, you can actually go in here. You can start creating custom tags. Again, this can only be done by the Rainmaker as of right now, but you guys can come in here, add in custom tags. It's not influencing your personal tags at all. You'll notice if I toggle back to my personal profile, I have all my original tags populating still. But once I select my team profile, these are my team tags. So again, Rainmaker can create these and edit these. And it will allow any agent on your team to tag their contacts as such, as long as their contacts have been added to the team database. Underneath that, we have lead sources. This is something that only the Rainmaker has access to edit as of right now. That being said, Rainmakers can come in here, they can create custom lead sources, and all agents on the team can actually then go in again to their contact profiles that have been shared with the team or added to the team database, and they can actually utilize all of these lead sources, which is great. It allows you guys to kind of share that now. It's going to allow you guys to just keep your databases a little bit more organized, especially if you guys are sharing those tags and those lead sources. It's going to help clean things up a little bit. Underneath that, we have opportunity settings. And when I click on opportunity settings, the last option populating here is team permissions. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. This is something that we also get a lot of questions on. So the team permissions, the way that these are set up currently is you'll see we have a yes, all team members can create private opportunities within our market center. No, team members can create private opportunities in our market center, and then select agents. And you can enable specific agents to be able to create private opportunities. What we have noticed as of right now is yes allows all agents to create opportunities, not only private, but also on the team. No seems to block agents from not only creating opportunities on the team, but it also prevents them from creating private opportunities. So it prevents them from creating opportunities, period. If you guys are having issues with a specific agent not being able to create an opportunity under the team and they're following all of the specific steps that they need to follow, chances are if you toggle this to being yes and select them as an agent, for some reason, it's just something that it looks like they might still be updating, it will then allow them to create that opportunity. And we get this question regularly. So again, if you guys have an agent on your team, they're following all the steps the way they're supposed to, but they still can't create that opportunity, just come in here and check and see how you have your settings set up. Again, this is specifically done under a Rainmaker's account. So if you're not set up as the Rainmaker, just have your Rainmaker check the back end of their account. We can always do it as well. So you guys can always shoot us an email over to support@scottlaraymarketing.com and just say, hey, I'm on a team. I'm having trouble creating an opportunity. Not sure where to start. We can take a look and just make sure that you're set up properly and then make sure that you're following the steps as well. But this is just something I wanted to touch upon because we do get that question frequently. Underneath opportunity settings, we then have smart plans. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And you're going to see designated agents underneath that. And we're going to go ahead and click on designated agents. This is huge. So this is actually a brand new launch. They just updated this for you guys. You now have team smart plans, which is awesome. This is fantastic for you guys. You can now share smart plans with your team members. That being said, as of right now, for the team smart plans, the only people who can actually create these smart plans, you have to be either the Rainmaker or you need to be set up as unlimited in order to create those. We are unsure if that's going to change, but as of right now, that's what we've seen. By coming into smart plans and designated agents, this allows you to select a specific contact assignee or Rainmaker in order for these tasks to be assigned to, or emails, contact assignee or the Rainmaker, SMS, and then Rainmaker, it just letting you know who she's actually set up as, it's Connie. But for these top three, you'll see here, again, I have the option to select Rainmaker as the default, meaning that the tasks will always be assigned to this person. A lot of teams are updating this to contact assignee. That way, what will happen is as you're utilizing these team smart plans, whoever that contact is assigned to will be getting these pieces of information. So if you have John Smith on your team, and he's working with a contact and he adds them to a team smart plan, any tasks that come out of that smart plan are going to be assigned to John Smith, the agent. Any emails that are sent to that contact are going to come from John Smith, the agent. It's also going to use that person's command mail. So John Smith's command mail, it's going to feed off of that. SMS or MMS, if they're sending out text messages, make sure that John Smith has Twilio set up. But that being said, it will use John Smith's credits when it's going out to that agent or that contact. So just something to keep in mind, depending on how you guys want to set this up. Again, if you guys are a spouse team and you guys are sharing an account, you can set it up as the Rainmaker, because chances are, if you're only using one command account, you're not assigning contacts to that other person. So just keep in mind for that. If you guys are only using one command login to make your team function, you would want to make sure that you have all of these set as Rainmaker. If you guys have agents on your team that are using their own command platforms just on a team level, you would want to make sure that you update these to contact assignee. That way, when these agents are assigning their contacts to team smart plans, they are still getting their marketing sent out, not only from them, but their contacts are going to recognize this person. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you guys made any changes, you do want to make sure that you're clicking on Save Changes in the top right-hand corner. I'm not going to save this because I don't want to mess up her account on her. Underneath that, you guys are going to see lead routing, and we're going to click on that. Again, this is something only Rainmakers are going to have access to, but if you guys are maybe an administrator on an account, this is going to be great information that you guys can share with your Rainmakers, because this is now going to take a lot of stress off of that Rainmaker's back. So the routes, once you guys click on lead routing, you're going to see routes nestled right underneath. When I click on this, what this platform is going to allow you to do is you guys can now actually set up lead routing. So any leads that are captured by the team account via landing page, or if you guys are running any sort of paid ads, they're going to be captured by the lead routing pool. Setting up a lead route is going to allow you to delegate those leads out based on day, based on agent. That way you don't have to be manually assigning leads that are captured by the team platform. So that way you can make sure that they're being contacted immediately instead of sitting in the lead pool and maybe being skipped over. So we do have a specific tip video as well as some instructions written down that I can send you guys. They're attached to my notes, so I'll get those out to you. And that will go over how you guys can actually set up those lead routing. But if you click on create route, just so you guys can see what you'll be looking at, you can title it. You can set up the rules. So for example, this one's set up as random. You guys can change this accordingly, assign to agent, round robin, jump ball, and it breaks down everything. So if you guys are questioning any of this, we have specific notes that go over how to set all of this up. So don't panic. I know this is a lot of information, but you guys can set this up. So in other words, an agent has only X amount of time to claim a lead. And if not, it will go on to the next agent. So if you guys have an agent who's consistently in their command account, or they're checking their account regularly, chances are if you set it to 1 day or even a couple of hours, they should be getting that information. However, if an agent is not checking their platform regularly and a lead comes through and they don't capture it or they don't claim it, then it will go on to the next agent. Again, this is just to ensure that any leads you guys are capturing electronically from those ads, which is going to be primarily landing pages, that they are getting nurtured as soon as possible. I'm gonna X out of this. And then again, we have all the notes on that, so I can send those out to you guys if you guys have specific questions on how to set that up. The next section I wanted to go over, let me see. That was actually it. Perfect. So now we're done with settings. So now the next section that I want to touch upon when it comes to the team platforms is I want to go over the actual contact section. So all I'm going to do is click on contacts, which is the second icon. If you guys ever question which icon is which, if you click on that red KW, it's going to expand everything for you, just so you can see which is which. So again, I'm going to go ahead and click on contacts. And I'm just going to touch upon this. Again, we do have specific tip videos, and I typed out a bunch of instructions for you guys. So I'll get those out to you as well, because I know this is a ton of information, and I apologize because I know it's very overwhelming. But once you guys click on your on your contacts platform, you'll notice I'm still under my team. From here, as the Rainmaker, or if you're set up with unlimited status, you will have access to toggle the lead pool on. So that's one of the first things I just want to show you guys, especially coming right from lead routing. What that lead routing is going to do is any leads that are captured by the lead pool would essentially sit here unless they were lead routed to an agent and the agent claimed them. If an agent does not claim the lead, or for example, say you have 3 agents on your team and you have your lead routing set up so it goes to all 3 and somehow none of them accept it or claim it, that lead will come right back in here to lead pool. So it's my personal recommendation to make sure that someone is maybe checking this at the end of the day before they go home, and make sure that no one is sitting in here. This is a test one, so it's just it's sitting there for us just so we can show you guys how it will show up. But if you guys have any leads sitting here, you do want to make sure that you're reaching out to them, because chances are if they're sitting under lead pool, they have not yet been claimed or nurtured. If you guys do have leads populating here, all you need to do is click on these 3 dots on the right-hand side, and you'll see that you actually have access to assign it to somebody. So once you click on assign to, and again, this is a Rainmaker's account or unlimited. If you guys don't have that status of on your command platform, you won't have access to assign out. Once I click on assign to, I can select my team member I want it to go to. Just click on Leah, and then I would just click on assign. And that will then assign it out to Leah, and she will get a prompt on her bell saying, hey, a lead came through, and she can accept it from there. So that is how you guys can assign contacts out. Also, what I wanted to show you guys, let me turn off lead pool. Let me pull up team class. So now these are just my normal contacts. I just have my one contact showing. Once I have my normal contacts populating, I'm already on my team platform. What some of you may have noticed when this launched, I want to say it was like 3 weeks ago now, the team platform when it went live, some of your contacts may have automatically been moved over to the team platform. What we have seen, any contacts that were previously shared with a team member or were previously set up with a team opportunity or associated with the team prior, they may have moved over from your personal database to the team database automatically. That being said, if that happened, those contacts would have been removed from personal smart plans, and the tags show up a little bit wonky. So don't panic, your tags are not gone, they're just kind of hidden. So if you guys did have contacts that were originally, and I'll drop back to a personal, if you guys originally had contacts in your personal account and they were automatically moved over to your team account, and you notice that you have contacts in both locations, and this will be for Rainmakers or agents on your team. So if you guys are an agent on the team and you have this happen, don't panic. You do still have access to the contacts, and you can adjust your columns to show those tags again. So if you guys are in that situation, I'm under my team profile, and all I'm going to do is click on customize columns. Once customize columns comes up, I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to make sure that legacy tags is checked. And I'm just going to drag these up just so they show up quicker on this drop down. So I'll put them before tags. So you'll see I have legacy tags checked, and I have that populating now, nice front and center. That way it will be one of the first things I see. And then I can click on apply. Once I've done that, if you know you want your original personal tags to show up, you can click on save view changes, and it will leave legacy tags there for you. This contact was not originally tagged when it came over. However, again, if you guys are one of those agents who had contacts that were automatically moved over to that team platform, once you guys have done that, you should see all of your tags showing up under legacy tags now. So they didn't go away, they're just hiding, which is great. So they are still there. One thing I do want to touch upon that has changed due to the updates. A lot of agents previously were sharing contacts with specific agents. So maybe if you're working with one of your teammates on a specific deal and you wanted to share that contact profile with that agent, that way you guys are kind of sharing that contact profile. Unfortunately, that feature seems to have gone away. We're not sure if it's permanent, but as of right now, you cannot share a contact with a specific team member. What you can do is add that contact to the team database. And then as long as all of the agents are set up one above standards, they would need to be set up as enhanced. They can actually see all of the team contacts. So if you guys, again, need to share a contact with somebody on your team, you can add that contact to the team profile. And in doing that, I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It will essentially drop that profile under your team database, and everybody on the team will have access to it as long as they're set up with enhanced. So I'm going to jump back to my personal profile. And in order to move a contact over, I actually have this one replicated on both profiles, but in order to move one over, if I just select it, I have two ways to do this. I can click on my select bulk action, and I can scroll all the way down. Make sure you scroll all the way down. Sometimes it hides it on you. You'll see change account. And again, I'm in my personal profile. I'm selecting my one contact. You guys can select up to 500, but I'm selecting my one contact. And then bulk action all the way down at the bottom. If you click on change account, you'll get this little pop-up. It's going to allow you to select which account, and then it will change it over for you. And all that means is this contact profile is going to be moved from my personal account over to my team profile. So again, it's not making a copy, it is moving that contact over. So you will not see it in your personal account going forward. One thing I do also want to mention, and this is due to the updates, if you guys have contacts that are in your personal database, so again, I'm in my personal database, I have my name showing up in the top right. If I'm in my personal database and I'm trying to create an opportunity under the team name, you are no longer able to do that unless the contact has been moved to the team database. So if you're working with, I have my profile in here. So if I'm working with Brittanie Duval and I need to create an opportunity through the team, I would need to change accounts. So move this over to my team database, and then I will have access to create that opportunity under the team. So again, if you guys are having trouble with that as well, and that's one of the new steps, new processes with the team platform specifically, you will need to be moving that over. And then let me see, the last thing I wanted to touch upon with contacts specifically, in order to share and copy, and this is something that they are still working on, but I know we've been getting a lot of questions about this. No matter what account you're in, when you click on these three dots now, you'll see make a copy and share. This is not specific to teams. This is actually something that all agents are going to have access to now. What it's going to allow them to do is exactly that. It's going to allow them to make a copy of this contact profile and share that with anybody in their office. You can also share with people on your referrals. So in other words, if you've added somebody to your referral network, they'll come up as an option. Just so you guys can see what that looks like, I'm going to click on make a copy and share. And then from here, my top option, share with, I can select either Market Center, my team, or my referral network, which is great. So this is going to be fantastic for referrals. Again, this is not 100% team related, but you can use it as a team function. So if I click on my team, I then have my associates populate, so I can share this over. One thing you want to keep in mind, and this is very important, if you guys are using the share and copy feature, it is going to take a replica of that contact profile, excluding the timeline. So it's going to essentially be like sharing their basic contact information with this other person. Once you've shared it, you cannot recall it, so you can't take it back. and it actually gives that person their own contact profile under their command database. So the contact profiles will not communicate with one another. So if you come in here and you say, oh, I accidentally spelled that person's name wrong, it should be Duvall, you would need to let whoever you shared that contact with know, and they would have to add that additional L to the last name. The contact profiles are not associated with each other at all. So it's very similar to, for example, if somebody asks for someone else's phone number and you supply it to them, you have no access to their cell phone once they've added it to their cell phone. Exact same idea. So just keep that in mind, because it's not like that shared contact that you previously had access to. You're not sharing a contact profile. You're giving them the contact profile. You'll still keep yours, but you're giving them a copy of your contact profile. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to X out of that. The next thing I wanted to go over, let me just make sure I covered everything. Oh, the last thing I wanted to touch upon before moving all of your contacts. So for example, you guys can mass select your contacts by clicking the name. If you guys are in your personal database, you can mass select your contacts. You do have access to up to 500 now. This is huge. This used to only cap out at 50. So now you guys can do 100 and 500. And you can turn around and click on your bulk action and change account. Before doing that, my personal recommendation would be to tag all of your contacts as your name. That way, when you share them or move them over to the team account, your legacy tag is going to show up as your name. The only way to get team contacts out of the team profile and back to your personal profile is for the Rainmaker to manually do it themselves. So in other words, if for some reason you need contacts added back into your database, your Rainmaker can then go in, pull based on the legacy tag. If it's John Smith, they'll pull all contacts with the tag John Smith and move them back to John Smith's account. So just for an organizational standpoint, my personal recommendation would be to make sure you're tagging those before you're bulk moving contacts over, just as a heads up. Okay, so the next section I want to touch upon is going to be smart plans, which should be pretty quick. I know we're getting close to the end of class. I apologize. The next one that I do want to touch upon is going to be smart plans. So again, it's the fourth icon down. And as always, if you guys question it, click on the red KW, and we're just going to jump into smart plans. I'm going to give it a second to load. Perfect. So as of right now, I'm in smart plans. I'm under my personal profile. What many of you may have noticed is now where you have that toggleable profile where you guys can toggle back and forth, you also have two sets of smart plans. So I'm on my personal profile right now. I'm going to click on my team one. And you'll see my smart plans completely change, which is great. So they did launch the team smart plans. We did go over how you guys can delegate that, who is going to be assigned to each task. So if you guys did already set it up, so the contact assignee is going to be set to, you know, your tasks and your smart plans, your emails, and that's who they're going to be coming from. This is now where you guys can come in here. You guys can click on library and find smart plans. You guys can add in some of the original smart plans. Maybe you were using by Keller Williams International. So if you guys were using like the neighborhood nurture or the mobile app or any of those, you guys can click on library. If it spins for a second, don't panic. They've been running updates. So just give it a second and it will load for you. But you'll see in here, you still have your neighborhood nurture, your 8x8, your quarterly call plan. And you guys would just go ahead and click on add smart plan. Just like you did with your personal accounts. You can still edit these. You still have access to customize them. And then you still have access to actually add all of the top rated smart plans. So if you guys haven't come in here and played around with this yet, I hugely suggest that, because these libraries that you now have access to, these are now done by, so these are other agents, other market centers, market center staff. They've put together smart plans that are completely customized that you can now come in here and utilize, which is great. And then you have access to customize them based on your team. My recommendation, anytime you guys use a smart plan, whether it's provided by Keller Williams International, so one of these, or if you scroll down and you snag one of the top rated and you add this smart plan, always, always, always proofread them. Just to make sure that they're using, again, the correct verbiage for you guys. Sometimes these agents are adding these smart plans. It may have obviously pronouns. You're looking at contact information. They may leave some of them blank and put like agent name. That way you guys can go in and put your name. So you always, always, always want to make sure that you are proofing these before adding people to them. Another way to proof them, add yourself to it. Add a custom email. If you guys have like a personal Gmail account, throw yourself into your team database as a contact, and then you can add yourself to these smart plans so you can see exactly what your contact is going to be getting before you start adding them on a mass scale. And that's for teams or individual agents. It's just personal recommendation. Make sure you're checking them before you're adding all of these contacts. But you guys do have access. You can come in here, you can check them out, you can click on view steps. It will show you exactly what the smart plan is going to do. And then you can go ahead and just click on add smart plan, and it will actually add it to the top under your team smart plans. So if you guys, again, haven't done that yet, you guys can come in here, you can search. If you guys are looking for like a follow-up for Facebook ads, or you guys are looking for an open house follow-up, type that into the search and chances are there's custom smart plans that have already been created for you. So it already has those bones that you can then go in and just tweak to make a little bit more personal, a little bit more customized, which is great. So I'm just gonna jump back to team plans because I just wanna show you guys what these are gonna look like on an editable level. So again, I'm under my team profile and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the pencil. I'm just going to do the first one that I have populating here. If you guys don't have one, don't worry. I'm just going to show you guys what they look like just so you know what to expect when you jump back in here later. So I'm just going to click on the pencil. Give it a second to refresh. And then you'll see here, she doesn't have Twilio set up. So if you guys see this scary message, don't panic. It just means that you guys don't yet have Twilio set up. That's also a part of my follow-up email. So if you guys already dropped your email in the chat, you'll be getting a copy on how to set this up. Again, if you guys are watching the recording of this, everything is below this video. There's a URL, a massive URL that's going to have all of my notes and all of these mini videos that go over how to set this up. So the first thing you guys are going to see is how it's set up. So the default that Connie has set up, where we went through settings, smart plans, designated agent, she has all of the SMS messages coming from the Rainmaker. So you'll see that here. As the Rainmaker, she does have access to uncheck this and then adjust it accordingly. As the Rainmaker and Unlimited should also have access to this. Enhanced can create smart plans, but they can't edit them. So just keep that in mind. If you do have somebody who is going to be doing 100% of your marketing, you may want to decide to give them unlimited access specifically for this reason. So they do have access to customize this based on smart plans. So for example, if your default is Rainmaker, but for this specific smart plan, you want it to be contact assignee or vice versa, you can come in here and tweak it accordingly. So again, this is why I always say, make sure you're proofreading these, make sure you're checking them. If you guys do open up a smart plan and you see anything that's populating in teal, that's actually coded to pull that information. So you guys don't have to tweak that, which is great. So if you guys have this set up as contact assignee and you have multiple agents using this, the very cool feature of this means that if John Smith is using this smart plan and sends out a text message, it's going to say, hey, how are you doing, Barbara? I just wanted to check in with you. And then if they sign it with agent name, which you guys have access to select whatever you guys want, it will actually pull based on who the contact assignee is, which I thought was very cool. So you guys have access to come in here and edit that. But anything that you guys see teal with those brackets, it means that it's automatically going to pull the information either from the account. So in other words, from the contact assignee's count, or from the database, or from the contact profile that you're working within. So again, you have contact first name, last name, it's going to automatically pull whatever the first name, last name of that contact profile is. It is smart enough to do all of that for you. So when in doubt, you're better off using these little code features right here. That way you don't have to customize it. And each agent can actually share these because it's going to pull that generic information over and it will populate with the correct information. Anytime you guys make edits on these, even if it's a quick fix, a quick tweak, make sure you're clicking that save button for the specific section. So you'll notice each section has its own, but you also need to scroll all the way back up to the top and click on save on the top right-hand corner. If you don't, it will not save. So you do want to make sure that you're clicking on both of those. Excuse me. So I'm just going to click on save just to make sure that's adjusted. And then once you guys do that, you should get, again, that green ribbon. All changes have been saved to your smart plan. That's how you guys can tweak them. That's how you guys can make sure that it's being assigned to the right people, make sure that they're going out accordingly. As always, and I cannot stress this enough, make sure you are sending out a test one. Add yourself on as kind of like a test contact or whatever it may be, just to make sure they're going to pull up the way that you want them to, because that's very important, because this is going out to your entire database, or essentially whoever you add onto these smart plans. So last but not least, I'm just going to toggle back. So that's pretty much the overview for smart plans. Keep in mind, you didn't lose your personal smart plans. They're just nestled under your personal database. You can still add any contacts that are in your personal database to these smart plans, but any contacts that you move over to the team database, whether it's for opportunity purposes, or if you guys are just operating out of the team database, you would want to make sure that somebody with unlimited access or the Rainmaker or Enhanced has set up smart plans as the team. So that way you guys still have access to those marketing features. Last, but definitely not least, I just want to touch upon opportunities because that has significantly changed. So again, I'm just going to click on my red KW. And then I'm going to click on my opportunity section. Once this page loads, I am already under my team profile. One thing I will recommend, if you guys are under your personal, toggle over to your team profile. So make sure that's the one that's selected. That way this just looks correct for you guys as well. If you guys are in one of those rare instances where you're associated with more than one team, that is completely fine. You can be associated with multiple teams, especially if you are an expansion agent. Maybe you have teams in multiple brokerages or multiple offices. Completely fine. You'll just notice that you do have multiple teams across the top. If you guys are with one team, you should be seeing the team name and then either your name, or it might just jump to all opportunities. This is going to be based on how your Rainmaker has that opportunity section set up. That's what we first went over when we started class under settings. Those opportunity team permissions, depending on how those are set up, are going to reflect on how you guys have access to create opportunities. So what I want to start with is just to show you guys how you should be setting up a team opportunity to start. So I'm just going to click on create opportunity. From here, if you guys are, again, with multiple market centers, you're going to want to make sure you have the right market center selected. You cannot change this once you have started this transaction. So if you do happen to select the wrong market center, unfortunately, you're going to have to recreate that opportunity from scratch. So just keep this in mind. If you are with multiple market centers, or if you just transferred, still make sure you're selecting the correct one. The old market center will automatically drop off your account, usually within 30 to 60 days. Once you have your market center selected, you're going to see your team as the next option. By default, it should automatically select your team name. If it's not, just make sure you're selecting that. That's going to allow this opportunity to populate on your actual team pipeline, which means that your Rainmaker will have access to it. From here, I'm just going to click to show you guys what the differences are, but you guys have listing, buyer, landlord, and tenant. I'm going to leave this one as listing. owner. So as long as you guys are creating an opportunity under the team platform, it is always, always, always going to be the Rainmaker as the owner. Do not panic. This does not mean that they own the entire transaction. It just means that it's going to allow this transaction to populate on the team pipeline. So in other words, the Rainmaker will have access to it. If you ever have questions on it, they'll be able to log into their account and see it immediately, which is great. However, one thing that we have noticed that has changed, when you guys are adding an opportunity to the team platform, you now need to add yourself as an assignee. So you'll notice at the bottom, and I know I'm skipping some stuff, we'll go back to that, don't worry. But once you guys have this and you're seeing your Rainmaker as the owner, at the bottom, in order for you to have access to it, you need to add yourself as the assignee. So even if I was logged in as Leah, when I'm creating an opportunity, I need to assign myself as an assignee or it won't show up on my pipeline. You will still be able to see the opportunity by going into that all opportunity section, but you won't have access to any of the details. So it kind of defeats the purpose. So you do want to make sure that you're attaching yourself as an assignee when you're creating an opportunity. If you have an admin who needs access to everything, you'll want to make sure that you're also assigning them as the administrative accounts that used to have access to all opportunities. They no longer do. We are unsure if that is permanent. That might be changing, but as of right now, the only login that has access to every single team opportunity created under the team profile is going to be the Rainmaker. Everyone else who would need access to that opportunity needs to be manually added as an assignee. This can be done immediately. For example, I can add them right here. It can also be done after the fact. So if you have an opportunity that you created maybe before the update, don't panic. You can go in and add that person in still. It's not a one and done. You don't get locked out or anything like that. If for some reason you have an opportunity that you previously created and you lost access to it, the Rainmaker can actually go ahead and add you as an assignee and you will regain full access to that opportunity. So that's huge. This is completely new. This is new with those updates that just came out. So I wanted to make sure that I touched upon that. Jumping back up to client, and I apologize that we just jumped around, but jumping back up to client, you'll see here, in order for a client to populate, they need to be under your team database. So I know my profile is there, so I'm just going to add myself, but a lot of agents have been contacting us that they're going to create a team opportunity and their contact isn't showing up. They're typing it in, they know it's in their database, but it's not populating. That's because in order to create those team opportunities, those contacts need to be moved from your personal database to your team database. Once that's been done, it's instant too, which is great. Once they're showing up in the team database, you'll come in here, you'll select your team, you'll start your opportunity, and your contact's going to show up as available. So if you guys are having any trouble with that, that's most likely why. Underneath that, just like your normal opportunities, you can create a name for it. I'm going to put test as the first part just so I can find it. You guys can also add in custom tags for the opportunity, estimated close date, listing price, commission rate. I'm just going to put 2%. And then opportunity phase. I'm going to put this one as cultivate, but you guys can change these accordingly. And then you'll notice that the opportunity status will change accordingly as well. So for example, if you select appointment, it's going to change to scheduling, scheduled, kept, active. You have staging, photography. So you guys actually have access to kind of drop this where it should be when in whatever status it is. I'm going to leave this one as cultivate, and I'm going to leave it right as the first one. So meet acquaintance. I have Leah added as an assignee, and I'm going to go ahead and click on create. Once this pops up, if you guys are in a situation where you create your opportunity and oh no, you forgot to add somebody as an assignee, this is where you can edit it, is right on this details page. You can also get to this page by locating the opportunity on your pipeline, which I'll show you guys how to do in a second, and it will bring you right to this details tab. Just remember, details tab of the opportunity. Once you guys are here, this pencil is going to bring you back to pretty much where we just were when we created that opportunity. You're going to see that you guys have access to edit most of the information. And you're also going to see right front and center is where the assignees are going to populate. So if you guys did forget to add somebody, or if you want to remove somebody, add an admin, whatever it may be, you would just click here and it's automatically going to pull up everybody on your team and you'll have access to add them in. Once you've adjusted that accordingly, you'll just want to click on save. It's not going to let me save because I didn't change anything. I'll add an estimated close date. And then once you've made any edits, you're just going to click on save. And that will adjust this for you. As far as locating an opportunity from the pipeline, if I click back, I'm just going to go right back to opportunities. This is your pipeline. So you'll see here, you guys have one for listings, one for buyers, one for leases. One thing I want to show you guys that is hugely important for teams specifically is going to be how to set up tasks and reminders. So if you guys have an admin who is following up on things, you guys now have access to actually set up these tasks and assign them accordingly to agents. So it makes it a little bit easier to keep things organized. These task lists are going to be based on each section. So for example, Cultivate will have its own series of lists, Appointment will have its own series, our Active will have its own series, and this will actually differ from Cultivate for buyers, Appointment for buyers, and Active for buyers. So you guys, it actually breaks it down it's very organized, which is great, but it allows you guys to set up a series of tasks that you can set up, for example, under Cultivate, and then assign those out. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that and where they are. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on my Cultivate section. And you'll see here, this is my pipeline, and it breaks it down a little bit further for me. So I have like my Cultivate, Appointment, Active, Under Contract, and Closed. And I can toggle back and forth. And this is my pipeline for my listings. If you ever second guess where you are, it shows it right up here. You can always just click right back on your handshake and it brings you right back to your overview of your pipeline. So then you can just click on wherever you need to be. But I'm going to jump into my Cultivate section. On the top right-hand corner, you're going to see Edit Stages. And this is going to be for personal agents or singular agents and also for teams. But it's great for teams because, again, it's going to allow you guys to actually assign these tasks out and just keep things as organized as possible, which is always helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on Edit Stages. And you'll see here, it will specify exactly where I am. So I'm under Listings, and it says Edit Cultivate Stages. So these are my stages specifically for Cultivate. I can come in here, I can click on my checklist, and I can see exactly what my checklist is set up as, and get information, add to command contacts, send a text, pull a touch system, or put into a touch system, follow the touch system. It allows you to actually see all of this, and it breaks it down for you. You guys have access to edit these, delete them, and you can customize them from here. If you guys have not yet started to play around with this, my personal recommendation for making sure that this is organized, I would type it up in Word. That way you guys can see exactly what you're going to be filling out or essentially setting up. And then you guys can come in here and just start adding them in. So if you guys want to start adding in stages, if I click X, I would just click on my add stage. And remember, I'm in Edit Cultivate Stages. So this is broken down very specifically. I'm under Listings, I'm in Cultivate. These are my stages for that specific area. And I would click on Add Stage, Stage Name, Probability. You can add item, whatever your task is going to be, if you can put it in the correct position. You guys have full editability with these. So however your team functions, however you guys are running your transactions, if you guys are doing follow-ups once they get into a certain stage, you want to send out a thank you email after people have closed, or you want to send out a text message when they're under contract, congratulating them, whatever it may be, you can actually set up reminders so it will automatically happen through here. So this is huge. This is going to help you guys stay organized. It's going to help you guys see kind of what's getting done. But this is how you guys can actually set that up. Once you guys have it set up, I want to show you guys how to implement them. So I'm going to go back to my listings and Cultivate. I'm going to find my test listing. We have a ton in here, so I apologize. Here it is. So once I have that, you'll see once I hover over my listing, this is the one I just created today. I have my tasks set up right here. So I can click on that. And this is pulling up my tasks for that specific opportunity. From here, I now have access to hover over any one of my tasks, and I can go ahead and click assign. So I'm going to assign this to Leah. One thing you do want to make sure, if you assign it and you don't set a due date, it's not going to actually assign it. So again, if you are assigning a task to an agent, whether it's to yourself, whether it's to another agent and you're maybe an admin or the Rainmaker, you want to make sure that you are setting a due date. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click set due date, and we'll put this due as the 30th. And I'll just click on OK. And then from here, you guys again can edit and delete. Maybe you did it on accident, you can delete it, or you can reassign it, push the date out. You can also change who it's assigned to. So nothing is set in stone, which is great. So you guys can come in here and play around with it. Once I've assigned that task, I'm all set. I can essentially just close this out. If you guys are trying to assign tasks all together, for example, maybe you don't want to come in here and assign each individual task manually, you can crush through these all at once. You'll notice here on the top right-hand corner, it will allow you to actually click the right arrow, and it's going to pull up any tasks that now I have set up for the next section. Next section, and just keep tabbing over. They don't have a lot of tasks set up as of right now. That's why you guys aren't seeing additional ones. But as long as you guys have gone ahead and you've edited those in edit stages, you guys will have access to go ahead and actually assign them based on, again, listings versus buyers versus rentals are going to have their own tasks. But on top of that, you're actually going to have your own tasks for Cultivate, Meet Acquaintance, Form Relationship, Hot, Appointment. You'll have your own under Appointment for scheduling, Scheduled, Kept. So it allows you to really make these as specific as you want them to be. So this is just a great tool to keep in mind because it's going to help you guys, again, just stay organized and make sure that you guys have access to kind of track what's going on, make sure those tasks are being delegated out. And to make sure that essentially if you are assigning an agent, it just kind of, it's a nice little reminder that they're involved with that transaction. As far as, let me see, I think I went over everything for the smart plans, opportunities. The last reminder I just want to make sure, because I know that this is brand new with those team updates, please make sure that if you are creating a brand new opportunity, make sure you're adding yourself as an assignee. I know that that's brand new. So again, make sure that you're adding yourself as an assignee. That's a part of the new updates. That will ensure that you guys have access to all of the details. Otherwise, it will still show up, and I'll show you guys, we'll go back. It will still show up under all opportunities. However, you won't have access to any of the details. What it essentially does is when you go to open it, it will let you see the name of the opportunity, but then it says that you don't have access to details. If you guys have an opportunity that you previously created and you're seeing that, your Rainmaker can add you on manually, no problem, and you'll regain access to everything. So don't panic. I understand that there's a lot of changes that just happened. Plus, this is a ton of information. So if you guys ever have questions on anything, or if something just doesn't look right, definitely let us know. If you guys come across something on your account that maybe looks different from what I've gone through today, or if you're set up as a Rainmaker and something doesn't look right on your end, let us know. We can always take a look. That's definitely something that we can touch upon with you. So that's what we're here for. Last but not least, I just want to touch upon really quick, which a lot of you, if you're set up as a team, chances are you're already utilizing this platform. So if that's the case, no worries. But I just want to show you guys how to actually pull your team information to your website really quick. So I'm just going to click on the consumer icon. It's the last one. If you guys can't see that icon, try zooming out a little bit. Sometimes if you're on a smaller laptop, it sometimes crops off the last couple of icons. So again, it's just my consumer option. X out of that. And then all I'm going to do is click on Agent Site Pages. And then I'm going to click on Create a New Site. Once I get this pop-up, I'm just going to click on my agent site and then Create Page. And this is just going to be a Meet the Team page, just so you guys can see what it's going to look like, just in case you're not utilizing it yet. So I'll click on Create Page. The first thing I always recommend doing, and this is just so you guys can actually tell them apart, is always label any page you guys are creating. So I'm just going to put this as Meet the Team, and I'm just going to put -team class because I think she already has one. Once I have my title added, I'm just going to go ahead and you'll see the widgets on the right-hand side. I'm just going to be using the team one. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that. I'm going to remain clicking, drag it over to my blank slate, and drop it. And you guys should see that gray overlay, completely normal because we haven't configured it yet. Once you guys have that, we're just going to click on Configure Widgets all the way down on the bottom right. And then we're just going to click on Team. And then here, you guys have access to customize this further. So for example, if you guys have a specific team name, you can put Meet the Blank Team. They are the Maxwell, I believe, and Yates. So then you guys can customize that. And then if you guys have intro text, maybe you guys have like a catchphrase or a slogan you guys want to use, you can add that in. Underneath that, we have the team. So you're just going to click on that drop-down list and select the team that you're looking to create this profile for. Again, if you're with multiple offices or you're with multiple teams, just make sure you're clicking the right one. And then you'll see all of your team members. From here, you guys can select whoever should be attached to the website or marketed on the website. It does take a second to select all of them, so don't panic. Let me pull these up. So once I select all of these, I can then click on Edit and Reorder and essentially change the order if you want somebody to be first. Or for example, maybe somebody's set up, like Kathleen is set up as buyer specialist, Kim is buyer specialist. Maybe they do both and you want to tweak that, which you have access to. So Edit and Reorder is going to allow you to tweak their job title, however you want them to be viewed on your Meet the Team page. Again, you can also change the order, which is great. You can adjust that just by dragging and dropping. Maybe Connie doesn't want to be known as the team leader or essentially the Rainmaker. Maybe she just wants to be known as the team leader. We have lead associate, buyer specialist. Maybe this person does seller, so you can put like seller, administrative assistant. Maybe she's marketing, so you can put marketing, whatever you guys want. This is where you can tweak that. Once you guys have made your edits, you can go ahead and click on Save. And it should update. I know they've been running updates on the website. Let's see. If you guys are having the same issue, don't panic. They've been running updates on it, so it might take a second to load. But once it does load, hopefully, let me try backing. You refresh it really quick. Pull it back up. All right, we get back to where I was. Okay, so once I have my title, I've selected all of my team members, I've made my edits. If you guys are having trouble making edits as of right now, feel free to shoot those over to us via email, support@scottlebrandmarketing.com, and we can take a look at it for you. They have been running updates on the website widgets, so sometimes they work, sometimes they take a little bit to load. You notice I'm actually in Firefox right now. That may also be the problem. Sometimes Chrome Incognito works a little bit quicker. It just depends on which browser you're using. And it also seems to depend on time of day. If a lot of people are utilizing at the same time, sometimes it runs a little bit slower. Don't panic. So it's not you guys. They're just running updates on the website platform itself. But just so you guys can see what it looks like without me making edits, I can click on save and apply, and it should appear on the left-hand side. Hopefully this will pull up. It was working for me this morning. Nope, it doesn't look like it's going to pull. So once it does go live again, what will happen is you guys would make your edits. It's going to pull all of this information from each individual agent's marketing profile. So that absolute first thing that we went over during class. So the name and the contact information, headshot, all of that is going to pull from their marketing profile. So if you have, oh, there we go. If you have agents on your team that maybe don't have their marketing profile set up, that's how they're going to show up. So you'll notice they have no profile, they have no real contact information. Everybody with marketing profiles set up, you'll see they actually have their headshot, they have their contact information, their name is showing up, all of that's there. One thing you will also notice is if you are in a situation where you're sharing a command account and you have both of your shared headshot, you'll notice here Connie's headshot is showing up as both her, Connie, and Leisha. So that's one thing to also keep in mind, where this pulls directly from your marketing profile. Whatever you want to show up on here would pull from that marketing profile. And unfortunately, as of right now, there's no way to adjust that. So just keep that in mind if you guys are using this widget. It does look like they're running updates on it. So again, if you guys get stuck and you need us to update this for you, shoot your login information over to us with your team name and any information. If there's specific agents that maybe are showing up here that you don't want added, give us the list. If it's everybody, just say, can you add everybody to a team page on my website? Nice and simple, and we'll take care of it for you. It does look like it eventually loaded, just took a second. So once you guys have that showing up, I'm just going to click on Save Changes. And then I'm just going to click on Yes in order to make this page live. And hopefully that loads. Perfect. Okay, it looks like it's just going a little bit slow. So if you guys give it a second to load, you should be all set. I'm going to go ahead, once you guys get to this section, this is where you're just going to make that page live. So when you create it, it kind of creates it as kind of like a draft for you. In order for that page to show up on your website, it does need to be added here. So you'll notice on the bottom left-hand side, we have Add Page. I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to select my page that I just created today. Again, this is why labeling them is so important. Plus, it will give you the date. So I'm just going to select that bubble, click Continue. I'm just going to put Team Class Test for the name, only because she has multiple on here because of me. And then I'm going to go ahead and update this. Put my slug, meet the team. The slug is just the tail end of your URL. So if you guys are, again, sharing a team website, for example, they have the yatesmaxwellproperties.kw.com. If somebody wanted to share the team page specifically, they would share that URL / meet the team. And that's going to share that page that we just set up. So that's all that slug is. Slug will not allow any spaces or special characters. So you'll notice in order for me to recognize spaces, I just added dashes. And then for my SEO description, I'm just going to put meet the Yates Maxwell Properties Group. And that's just a brief description of what your contacts will essentially see on this page. So if they ever came across this page on Google, this is just going to be that description that shows up right underneath that URL. Once I've done that, I'm just going to click on save. Should get that green ribbon. It should say, there you go, it's successfully saved. And then let's open that in a new tab just so you guys can see exactly what it looks like. Give you guys a second just to get this information down. Again, I'm labeling it team class test just so I know what page it is so I can remove it for her. But I have meet the team and then meet the group, or if you guys have a catchphrase or something you want to use, whatever you guys like. And then just remember to click save. And then this is what the page will look like on their website. So that's how you guys can advertise that on your website. The last thing I want to show you guys, and I realized I skipped it right as I went into the website, back in opportunities, I'm just going to jump back there really quick. You guys actually have a team chat feature now for opportunities. So I just want to touch upon this really quick. I apologize for jumping back. It dawned on me right as I clicked on the website icon. So once you guys are in the opportunities stage, so in other words, clicking on that handshake, opportunities, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the exact same opportunity I created earlier. So I'm going to click on my cultivate. And I'm going to scroll all the way down. And I'm just going to click on my actual opportunity. And you'll notice here, you guys have access to a discussion. And this is huge for teams because sometimes if you're maybe just trying to keep notes, if you guys have multiple transactions, or if you guys are like on a mega team and you have multiple agents, transaction coordinators trying to keep track of everything, this is a great tool to keep in mind. So when you guys click on that discussion, and again, it's from within any opportunity. So as long as you're in the opportunity, you're seeing details, seller profile, documents, you're in here, you can click on discussion. And you'll see here, you can create a discussion. So right when I click on that, I'll give it a second to load. It does seem like they're running updates. So again, if it is going a little bit slower for you guys, just give it a second to load and you should be golden. But you'll see here, I'm logged in as Connie. I can go ahead and put, were you able to contact client? And then I can do @ and type in my person that I'm directing it towards, @Leah. And then I can send it. Nice and simple. And then that will post here. And what will happen is now Leah will have access to see this discussion in her actual command, which is great. So it's, again, just a way for you guys to kind of make notes. If there's something specific that needs to be done, it's kind of a way to piggyback off of those client checklists that we originally went over. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that was an option. We do also have tip videos. Again, I'll be getting those out to you guys if you guys want to know a little bit more in depth about this, but I just want to make sure you guys knew where that was. And now you guys can start to play around with it. I can only assume that there will be questions at some point. If you guys have any questions at all on the team platform, shoot us an email, support@scottleroymarketing.com. Again, my name is Brittany. So if you guys have questions about the teams, feel free to direct those towards me. And I'll make sure that all my information is sent over in the chat as well. And I'll also drop it below the video of the recording. But I appreciate you guys coming to class. I know we went very over, so I apologize. But as always, if you guys have questions, concerns, something doesn't look right, anything at all, definitely let us know, and we are happy to take a look at your account specifically. And I appreciate you guys coming to class or watching our video.